This is your 20-minute podcast, where we do our best to give you useful information in 20 minutes or less. Today's podcast is brought to you by Audible. Get a free audiobook download and 30-day free trial at audibletrial.com/your 20-minute podcast. Over 180,000 titles to choose from for your iPhone, Android, Kindle, or MP3 player. Now, here's your host, David Brower.
You're listening to your 20-minute podcast with David Brower and our special guest today, Elliott Katz, who has written a book that every man should read and understand. Is that right?
Exactly.
It's called Being the Strong Man a Woman Wants, Timeless Wisdom on Being a Man. Man, you've got this book all over the place, translated in 24 languages, all over Europe, Asia, Latin America, Africa. You must have really struck a chord with this.
Exactly. I've come to realize, cultures may be different, but human nature is similar, and men all over the world really need to learn how to be men. And traditionally, fathers or other older male role models used to teach a younger man about what it means to be a man, and that really has been lost. And a lot of the ideas today, the things men see on TV, the things they hear in the media, have really led to a lot of confusion among men. I mean, we even hear that term, masculine confusion. We're not sure what it means to be a man. We're searching. So, this book is the result of my own search of looking, what does it mean to be a man? I was married for 10 years. I got divorced, and like a lot of people, at first I blamed the other person. Then I came to the point of asking myself, what do I have to learn from all this? I don't want to go through this again. So I set off on a journey to learn, what does it mean to be a man? And I started listening to the men. The more I listened to the men, the more I realized we're all confused. I started reading books on relationships. They really didn't say anything to me. And it was only when I turned to that timeless wisdom that fathers used to teach their sons, I was blown away, because it coincided with what I heard women complain is lacking in men today. They don't show leadership. They don't make decisions. They don't take responsibility. There's this giant disconnect between all the things men have heard and what women really want. And really, this is what traditionally fathers taught their sons, to be leaders of their family. And it's not about being controlling, not about micromanaging and being a tyrant, not at all. It's just today men are so afraid of being accused of being controlling, they've gone to the other extreme, and they'll say, the wife asks them, for their input, whatever you want, you decide. Well, if you say that, she'll think of you as one of the kids.
Right. And it makes me want to ask the question. It seems like, and I can't tell you when, but it seems like a generation or so ago that a lot of us parents decided we should be friends with our kids instead of parents to our kids. And I wonder if this is a carryover from some of that mindset.
Oh, absolutely. Because when you're a friend, you're not being a leader. Your child will have many friends, but they need a father. They only have one father, and that's your job.
Right.
And it doesn't mean, that stereotype of this tyrant, tyrannical father who's tough and screaming. And you don't have to be that way. That's not appropriate. You could still be friendly with your kids, but your kids are really looking to you to lead them, to guide them, to teach them how to succeed in this world as a person, not only as a career, but as a person, as a human being, as a man, how to relate to other women, how to relate to a wife. All these things, they're really looking for you as a role model. They want to learn from you. And if you just want to be friends with your kids, well, you're really failing them.
Yeah, no kidding. So when you started doing your own catharsis and getting through your 10 years of marriage and your divorce and all the blame games that we all play at one time or another, and you started reading all of these books, and if I heard you right, they didn't really hit much, if anything, on the nail for you. So where did your epiphany come in?
Well, it was really, forgetting about modern books on relationships, but really looking back, the fascinating thing is teaching a younger man about being a man is a very traditional thing. You can look over the centuries and see all kinds of writings by men teaching, sharing their wisdom about being a man with the younger men. There's so much writing. It's fascinating that there's so much out there, and that today men are so lost. Even that famous poem, "If" by Rudyard Kipling. What is it saying? It said, if you could keep your head on all those around you are losing theirs and blaming it on you, And then what's the last line? Then you will be a man, my son. It's about teaching his son. This is what it means to be a man. There's a lot of writing, and really, what does it say? It says, be a leader. Like, take responsibility. Your family is looking to you to be responsible for what goes on in your home, and don't shirk your responsibility. Don't just say whatever, because everybody's looking to you. As much as today we have all these ideas about gender equality, people still, their natural inclination is to expect the man to take responsibility. So since people are going to hold you responsible, take responsibility and be the leader. And really, women really want that. It's like, part of the fascinating thing about this journey is like talking to men and telling them this, and like somebody will say, "Oh, I've never heard this before." I've heard that so many times.
Wow.
It's your job to be a leader in your family. Your wife is frustrated with you because you don't show any leadership. She wants you to step forward. She doesn't want you to control her, but when there's a situation, she really wants you to step forward and deal with it. She doesn't want to have to tell you what to do. She doesn't want, so many men will say, "Well, I'm such a great husband. I come home, my wife tells me do A, B, and C, and I do it. I'm a great husband." Well, what differentiates you from a nanny? That's what a nanny does.
That's right. That's right.
She doesn't want you to control her, but she wants you to know what's going on, see situations that need to be dealt with that are not being dealt with, step forward, take charge, find a solution, implement it. She doesn't want to have to tell you what to do because she wants to look up to you. She married you because she wants a man. And like when you tell men this, it's like they've never heard this before.
So you get a deer in the headlight look from the man, and you get a shaking head from the woman?
Yeah, it's so amazing. The women, I was just talking to a group of people yesterday, both men and women together. The women were smiling. They liked so much what I was saying, and the men were like, not sure what to think. And I even said to them, I said, the two biggest surprises of this journey of sharing what I've learned is the men need to be convinced. They're not sure what they should agree with me. And the women say, how do I convince my husband this is what I want?
Right. Yeah, can you go spend an hour with my husband? I'll be back.
How do I get him to read this book? I get that all the time. Or one woman said to me, she told her husband, I want us to read this book together because you're not doing what this book says.
Wow. If that doesn't get your attention, I don't know,
And I've gotten feedback from people who've written to me and said, this book has saved our marriage. Because really, what's fascinating is that women don't, this is what they want. They don't seem to know how to say it. They'll say, oh, you don't do enough at home. And the man thinks, what do you mean I don't do enough at home? I wash the dishes, I give the kids a bath, I change diapers, I take out the garbage. How could you say I don't do enough at home?
There's that nanny description again.
Yeah, she wants you to be the man. She wants you to be the leader. Been fascinating. So, if your listeners, if you're a man who's like having challenges in your marriage, take a look at the book. It could save your marriage.
So, you've written this book how long ago?
Well, it first came out about 8-9 years ago, and I've done a revised edition since, adding more things that I've learned.
And I guess that was my next question. This has to be a journey, a continuous journey for you as you continue to interact with these men and these women, and you learn more of not only how valuable your book is, but maybe different directions you can take your book.
Well, absolutely. It's been a fascinating, because really, like I was saying, the reaction from women, even when I first did the book, I really didn't think women would say, yes, this is what I want. I want a man who's a leader. And because I thought, today, with this whole thing of, being equal partners, that women wouldn't want to say, no, I want a man who makes decisions and shows leadership. I don't want to make all the decisions.
Right.
But women will say that. They'll say, I want a man. I don't want to make all the decisions. They resent it, And men today think, well, the woman runs the home is the woman's domain. I let her run it, and I'm just such a nice, non-controlling guy.
Wow.
But the women are fed up with it. They said, he leaves everything to me.
Yeah.
He's like one of the children. That's what they say. It's because men were not taught to be men, and really it's really the timeless wisdom that fathers used to teach their sons. This is what it means to be a man.
So what kind of specifics do you have in your book for a man that is open to hearing what you have to say?
Well, there's a lot of specific things. So, like one of the common problems, like money, there's often, especially when you have a young family, there's financial stress, and people get in, men will often let their wives run up bills because they're afraid to stand up to them and tell them to stop, or they think, if I can make enough money, my wife will be happy. I explained to them, that will not bring happiness. That's just going to bring you down. You got to step forward and say, okay, this is a reasonable amount of money, and that's as much as we can spend. And like, don't be afraid to stand up and say, this is all we can spend, because if you go bankrupt, if you lose your house or whatever, everyone's going to blame you. You could tell everybody, my wife spent money like water. That's why this all happened. It's all her fault. But people will look at you and say, how did you let it go on? Because that was one of the things that happened to me. I met a fellow. He was divorced. We were talking. This was very early on in my own journey. The situation was so similar. And then he said his wife ran up $50,000 on the credit cards. I looked at him. I said, well, why did you let that go on?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, your wife was wrong, no question, but how could you let it go on? Like, that's something I would never let go on. So it's really realizing all these situations, you're responsible. You're going to be held responsible. So since you're being held responsible, see that as empowering you to do something about it. Be the leader.
One of the ladies who spoke to you mentioned that she wishes her and her husband could read this book together. That seems like a wonderful thing to do for a lot of couples, not just the man, right?
Absolutely. I think because a lot of men aren't sure that this is what women want. And when she says, yes, this is what we want a man who takes charge, who takes the lead on situations, doesn't wait for me to tell him everything, knows what's going on at home, and steps forward and deals with it. And because I just been in situations where men will say to me, no, this is what women want. The women will say, yes, this is what we want. I shouldn't laugh about it because it's a serious situation, but I've had this so many times that, because when you think about it, where were men today to learn about being a man? So many young men, they grew up in families, maybe they didn't have a father, there's divorce, or the father worked long hours. They go to school, most of the teachers are women. They watch television, men are portrayed as buffoons.
Right.
Where do you get an idea that this is what it means to be a man?
Absolutely right. And are there other resources, like on your website or different things that you have available for people to reach out to you to learn more about your philosophy on this?
Well, I have a website, Elliott Katz, ELLIOTTKATZ.com. And people, this describes some of the ideas in the book, and people want to email me through the website. I'm happy to hear from them, and any questions, I'm happy to discuss it, because I really feel this is like a mission for me. And when I'm able to help someone, and someone says, hey, you know what, you saved our marriage, you really improved the situation, it's very rewarding. I don't want more kids to be from broken homes. A lot of divorces are initiated by the woman because she's frustrated with the man. And so many men will say, if I would have known what I could do to save the marriage, I would have done it.
Right.
I was just trying these things. Nothing worked. If I would have known, I would have done it.
Well, and the sad part of that conversation is oftentimes, not always, but oftentimes, by the time the man comes to that realization, the woman's already done.
Yeah.
And that's really sad. So are you a happily married man, or just pushing your book, or what are you doing?
I'm working on it. Getting there.
Good for you. Good for you. It is a journey, isn't it?
Women appreciate it. Even asking women on a date, women really like it if you call them up and you take the lead. You say, you're be a man with a plan.
Yeah.
Women, I couldn't count the number of single women say, man asked me out for a cup of coffee. He doesn't even know where he wants to go. He wants me to plan the date. I tell guys like that, if you can't even decide where to go for coffee, how are you going to make important decisions?
Exactly right. And the important decision is not what we're going to have for dinner tonight, sweetheart.
Yeah, but you know what? If she wants your input on that decision, give it to her, even though it doesn't matter to you.
If she wants it, that's right. That's right. How exciting, man. That's what a wonderful journey you've been on, and be able to go through your own journey and then help. I can't even tell you how many people you've been able to improve their lives and save marriages. Having your book published all over the world, it has to be beyond gratifying and very humbling, I'm sure.
It's very rewarding. It's very rewarding to be able to make a difference, help keep a family together. It's wonderful.
Well, good for you. Good for you. What do you do professionally? Do you just promote your book now, or what do you do?
What do I do, like for a living?
Yeah.
I'm retired.
Oh, good for you.
I used to work for the government, and now I retired, so now I'm focusing a lot on the book, and now I'm actually starting to do like speaking, because when you have a full-time job, it's not so easy, but I want to speak to groups and really get the word out, and because there's a lot of people, a lot of men, they work hard, they earn big incomes, and they come home and life is miserable. It's like, well, I tell them to save some energy and be a leader, but they don't really know. They think I'm what a great husband I am. I'm earning a good income, and why is she so resentful?
Well, and two, when you tell them come home and be a good leader, there's a message there that they don't even understand the definition part of the time, I'm sure.
Right.
Well, congratulations on your book, and I'm glad you're retired so you can really get the word out on this book even more. It's timeless for any generation, so congratulations to you.
Thank you very much. Wish you all the best with what you're doing with these podcasts.
Well, thank you. I just retired myself. I do voiceover work full time, and I had a marketing job up until September, and so now I'm just doing my own thing, and so I decided to start doing podcasts. Not unlike you, I'm not writing a book, but I'm trying to put experts out there who know what they're talking about in hopes of helping somebody along the line with an issue that they may be having. So we're on a similar path, my friend, so thank you. So it's ElliottKatz.com, and the book again is Being the Strong Man a Woman Wants, Timeless Wisdom on Being a Man. Available, I assume, on Amazon and all the usual places?
It's on Amazon, both as a paperback and an ebook, and on Kobo and iBook. And it's also available in bookstores, and if they're sold out, just ask them to order it for you, and they'll get it to you pretty quickly.
Very good. When are you going to do an audiobook of it?
Yeah, I should do that. Yeah, it's okay. I got to do it.
Elliott, thank you so much. Continued success, and enjoy the road. Our guest has been Elliott Katz, again, author of Being the Strong Man a Woman Wants, Timeless Wisdom on Being a Man. It's ElliottKatz.com. You've been listening to your 20-minute podcast with David Brower. And be sure to like us on Facebook at facebook.com/your 20-minute podcast.
Until next time, don't forget to download your free audiobook at audibletrial.com/your 20-minute podcast. That's audibletrial.com/your 20-minute podcast for your free audiobook. And thanks for listening to your 20-minute podcast with David Brower.